Good evening. Welcome, everyone. This is the regular City Council meeting for July 7th, 2016. Thank you all for being here. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Ms. Pazor?
Here.
Ms. Etzel?
Present.
Mr. Spinks?
Present.
Mayor Aboasley?
Here.
Mr. Brandt?
Here.
Mr. Sternad? Mr. Draper?
Here.
At this time, we'll have our regular moment of silence. Thank you. Okay, at this time we have any citizen presentations. I know there's one. Would you go ahead?
Good evening. My name is Judy Soluri, and I live at 1785 Grand Avenue in Marion. Dear Mayor and council members, I've been attending council meetings now for a while. The recent development along the 6th Avenue corridor is exciting, but it leaves me with a concern that was echoed by Councilwoman Pazor at the work session Tuesday afternoon. I volunteer at the Marion Heritage Center several days a week, and am very concerned about parking, or rather the lack thereof, for the businesses from 10th to 9th Street and to the proposed building by Perry Development Partners between 8th and 9th Street. My concern, though, goes one step further. The only handicap parking for patrons of the Heritage Center, the Kettle House, Another Road Brewery, or the new Perry building are on the square or at the library, and these are limited. After many years of caring for my mother, who had severe back and knee problems and used a walker, I have firsthand knowledge and experience in knowing how far a disabled or handicapped person can go to get to a shop, museum, or restaurant. I also know what pleasure they derive from getting out to these destinations. I don't believe that the City of Marion wants to limit access to a significant and growing population of our community. In discussing this with Lynette Brenzel, the director of the Marion Heritage Center, she echoed my concern. Lynette had one other thing that she wanted me to convey to you. In the last week, there were a couple of visitors who rode bicycles to the center. The first one brought the bike into the center without asking her first. Lynette said that the entry doesn't have enough room to house bikes and must be kept open for visitors who need the space for walkers and wheelchairs. There can be no obstacles. The second visitor chained the bike to the railing. This isn't a good alternative either, as the railing must be kept for people who need to hold on as they come down the steps. The City of Marion wants to be bicycle friendly, but has no place to chain bikes and keep them safe. Thank you for your consideration in both these matters. Please, now is the time to develop some sort of policies for these issues. I would hope that the lack of handicap parking could be looked into quickly, as not one of us is getting any younger. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other citizen comments or presentations? Please come forward, state your name and address.
Hi, my name is Pam Benest, and I live at 3510 Windermere Way here in Marion. I've been a resident there for 14 years. There has been an issue for a number of years, and I guess just the last few years it really kind of has been getting to me. And I'm asking for the city. I don't have an idea for the solution, so I'm looking for all of you for a solution. If anybody's familiar with 35th Street, it has grown, has gotten very busy. It seems to be a favorite place for everybody to put their garage sale signs, and they're for sale by owners. Well, last year it got really irritating when my corner and the one across the street, we had 8 signs one weekend right there on the corner. So this year I double-checked with the city to find out it is not legal for them to put their signs between the street and the sidewalk. The exception is open house signs reasonably before somebody's having the open house, and then they have to take it down afterwards. I was told, given permission, that I could pull these up, could in fact throw them away. I was told that the city sometimes has pickup trucks that will go around and will gather these all up. So I've started doing this. I started just pulling them up and leaving them down on the ground. Boom, they'd be right back up. So I took the city's advice. I started pulling them up and putting them in my trash. Needless to say, I haven't made friends on down the street. There seems to be a lot of garage sale signs down, or garage sales down Windermere Way this summer. So I got angry about it, and then I thought, maybe it's people just don't know. It's not legal. Common sense would tell me, would they like it if I brought a sign down and stuck right in front of their house, whether it's on the corner or wherever? Common courtesy is that you wouldn't do that. And people nowadays, you advertise a garage sale somewhere. People have phone books, they have the internet, they have their GPS, that they can find their way. Why do they have to put their signs along 35th Street? Drive into Hy-Vee parking lot one day, and how many signs that you'll see down there. 44th Street, 35th Street, and 31 are ones that I am familiar with to know that there are a lot of signs. 35th seems to be the biggest one. I have a funny story to tell. At least I think it's funny before I conclude in asking your help. Just last week, I'm going home, headed up 35th Street towards my house, and I kind of did a double take because I saw a sign a block before my house, and I thought, what was the address that was on there? Well, I let it go, and the next day I'm going up, I thought, I'm going to take a look. Guess what? 1 block before Windermere Way was a sign for a garage sale on Windermere Way. So I followed it. It went on down to 44th Street, turned left on 44th Street, and again left on Windermere Way, because I've been pulling up the signs and I think the word's getting out. And I'm not a good neighbor, I guess. Now, if any of you are familiar too, there is an island out in front of my house. City does not take care of it. In fact, I got a call a couple years ago. Somebody complained about a weed down in the end of the island. I don't know. I'm sure it took the city a number of hours to figure out, are they responsible for taking care of this? Well, they found out the answer is no. They went through the abstract, my house, the one next to me, and the 2 across the street. If anything happens out there, we're responsible for it. And I've taken it upon myself, because one house is empty, another house, they have health problems. I go out. I've been even planting flowers and things up there. I asked the city, could you at least dig a hole for me? It's like digging it in cement. No. So I get someone to dig the holes, and I've been putting plants because I think Marion is a very pretty city. We should be proud of it. So I'm trying to do my part in keeping that looking nice. I gradually been putting flowers in there. I even went out and bought boulders this weekend to put in there. These signs are, they're trashy. Why do we have to put up with this in our neighborhoods? And I'm not the only one. The gal across the street, I know she's been pulling up the signs too. And the word's been getting around. But I thought going around away from the street and clear down and around with the signs was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. And every time I think about it, I just have to laugh. I don't know what the resolution is. How do we get the word out to people? This is against the law. This is not what we want for our community. Would you like it if I came and put signs like this in front of your house? No. Top one, though, a week ago, there's a stop sign there, too. Guess what was taped on the stop sign? You got it. A garage sale sign. And I thought, oh my gosh. And it's taped to the garage sale. So anyway, I just wanted to be able to come up this first time I've ever been here, and I just wanted to be able to express my views and hope that maybe we can come up with a resolution. Maybe it's just educating our neighbors and our citizens of Marion to know that what they're doing is wrong. But I'll guarantee you, they do it in front of my house in my neighborhood. They aren't going to stay there. I've pulled up an awful lot recently. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Anyone else?
Good evening, Renee Gedelia, 797 Oak Park Circle. Mayor, council, city staff, I'm just wanting to let you know that I'm here on behalf of the Linn-Mar School Board, should you have any questions tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to address the council? Please come forward. Welcome.
I might need a little help with this if I could to show some pictures, but hello, my name is Christina Wolf. I reside at 2431 28th Avenue here in Marion. Council, city members. Trashy, appalling, disaster, messy, mud pit, dump site, weed city, and eyesore and a joke are just some of the words used to describe our new neighbor. Our new neighbor was a house that was moved from 29th Avenue and 35th Street in order for the city to create this mini roundabout. Before this time, it was a beautifully kept yard by our former neighbors. If given the opportunity, I surely would have loved to purchase that property and keep it, as this lady has said, beautiful and kept up and just very nice looking. But I'm not going to speak of that matter because the house has been moved, it is there, and now we are left to deal with it. And we have been dealing with this since November. We are informed by the man, Mr. Ken Spence, who purchased, moved, and was to complete construction on this house, that it would be completed at month's end. Well, it is July, and it is far from completion. He is rude, he's arrogant, he's unprofessional, and we are forced to deal with it because it is circumstances beyond our control. We have lived in our home for the past 16 years, and we have loved our home. We have continually improved it. We have improved the home and its surroundings, the landscaping, to make it more valuable, desirable, and investable. We have taken a great interest and pride in our neighborhood, and the other residents have there as well. Mr. Spence has no interest, he has no pride in the neighborhood, nor does he have in the house. He wants to complete the project, spending the least amount of money and doing the least amount of work possible. And it is obvious by the workmanship, if you could really consider it that. A few weeks ago, he requested the final inspection from the city for this property. According to the inspector, there were 33 citations from this house preventing it from being placed up for sale. 33. So this is far from completion. There has been numerous occasions where days and weeks go by without any work being done on the house and its surroundings. The building permit allows him to take up to a year. That in itself should be changed, but that is a matter for a different time. Mr. Spence has had ample time to complete this project, and I urge you to deny any further requests for additional time for him. I implore this council to require this man to invest in the house and the neighborhood by requiring him to do quality workmanship in a timely manner. So I'm going to, okay, so it's so that is our house right there. Just a few pictures that these were taken like 2 days ago. So we have, like I said, we have put a lot of money, a lot of our own hard work into the house to make it nice. I mean, I love my house. It's beautiful. And just recently we had professional concrete company and landscaping come out and put this concrete pad on the side, because all we were getting from the house was mud. Before the house was moved there, when they started to tear up the lot, it was just a mud pit in our property. So we paid for all this to be done, and needless to say, they have come in, and this is what it looks like now on the side of that property. So that was the porch that was placed on the side yard of our house. I just want you to know about this porch too. On June 23rd, there was a meeting to require Mr. Spence to remove this porch because it was breaking a city ordinance. He stated he measured from our fence, which is kind of here, to the property, not from the property marker that was clearly marked and visible. So just another display that he does not know what he's doing. So the porch was over the allowed distance for the side yard. So the zoning board of adjustment denied his request to keep the porch on. It would need to be moved or cut in size or removed. Less than 1 week later, the city discovered a flaw in the ordinance which allows the porch to remain if all windows and doors are removed. So now Mr. Spence has removed all the windows and doors, and this is what it's looking like when I come home every day and look at this. And this is kind of, I mean, this is almost comical. So these stairs are on the back side of the house, which obviously after this large rain we had just a couple nights ago, you can already see the stairs are sloping. So I mean, I can guarantee that's not going to be passed by, the inspectors, but it's almost to the point where it's, I don't know, this is what it looks like. So he just, like I said, he's not taking the time, he's not putting the money, he's not putting the work into it. The other issue I just wanted to kind of point out was it's not just this house that he is trying to complete. He also is moved the other house that resided on 35th and 29th Avenue, and this now is on the corner of 31st Street and 24th Avenue. And this is the big mud pile or dirt he has there. This is the back. These are the weeds. Oh, there we go. Okay, so this is the other house that Mr. Spence is continually trying to work on, and I don't know, get it ready for sale, I guess. I'm not really sure what his intentions are. So I'm just letting you know that my husband and I are tired of dealing with this eyesore. It's not just us, it's the entire neighborhood. I've talked to pretty much everybody in our neighborhood. He just does not care about the house. He does not care about the neighborhood. And I wanted to let you guys be aware of what we've been dealing with for far too long. And I just kind of hope these pictures kind of put things in perspective. And like I said, I urge the city to just require him to do what any contractor would rightfully do. And that's create an investable and a desirable and a quality house in Marion. I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, seeing none, we'll proceed to the consent calendar. We do have one item that is being removed from the consent calendar, which is 5I. By the request of staff, it's being removed.
Now, before I move to approve this, on 3A, the expiration of August 3rd, 2016 for Tommaso's Pizza, is that correct? 2016? It just seems like it's less than a month that they're getting a special permit for.
Finance isn't here, but
Okay.
I'll check on it, and it might just be an administrative error.
Well, I mean, it just seems like it
I
should be
agree.
like 2017, you know?
I agree.
There aren't very many Sundays that they're going to be able to take advantage of that. Okay, you ready? Your Honor, I move to approve the consent calendar, which includes items 1 through 17 minus number 5I. And this includes resolution 25,427 through 25,444 minus 25,435.
Second.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded to approve the consent calendar, including items 1 through 17, and except for 5I, which also includes resolution numbers 25427 through 25434 and 25442 through 25444. Any discussion?
Number 14.
Okay. What about 14?
Has anybody seen this? Receive and file? What this even is? Anybody?
No.
I have not. Tom? Is that you?
Number 14, it's a receive and file, and I have not reviewed it yet. So it's just a receive and file it at this point. We'll do a report once we've had a chance to process the request. But it appears to be the north-south alley in the block that Perry Development's proposing their project on. So
what street is that, Tom? Do you know?
it would be between
6th and 5th?
6th Avenue and 8th Street and 9th
6th
Street.
Avenue between
8th and 9th.
This is the north-south. I'm
South side of
assuming
6th
this
between 8th
east-west
and
must
9th.
run in here somewhere. I don't see the east-west. I see the north-south.
So this is receive and file, and at some point there'll be a staff
yeah, they're
report like
requesting to
normal
purchase it. So we'll bring it back and process it, the request, and bring the report to council. So at this point, it's just no different than a letter of request for something. So yep.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
Any other discussion?
What number is that? Okay. Wow. That's just the receiving file.
Any other discussion?
Well, number 16,
Yes.
about the motion to receive and file the census certification. There is nothing as far as monetary value on this, but I would pursue the request to place the additional funds that Marion will be receiving, both from road use tax and the local option sales tax, and place that into a special account that would only be able to be used in dire emergencies towards either paying down bonds or with the possible consideration of a water treatment plant. But that's not a motion, that's just
a
drawing
side
your
comment.
attention to
Okay.
it.
I agree. I think the money should go into escrow and savings, and maybe think about paying off some of our indebtedness. It's money that we've been able to budget without, that I think that we could still budget without, and put it in escrow and use it for future usage, as you suggest, or to pay off debt. We're going to have to, I know that we have it budgeted every year to pay off some debt, but the elephant in the closet to me right now is the bridge on Tar Terrace, which I think Dan would tell you 5 years ago was 12 or 14 million. Could easily be 18 or 20. I have no idea, but no, he says, but 15 I'll say then. But where in the world would we get the money to build that bridge unless we start saving some money for future use? So I agree with the councilman on that.
Okay.
Could always install a ferry, charge.
I guess I would suggest that we have a presentation or a recommendation from staff on that use.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of different ways to look at that funding. We currently, a lot of our indebtedness right now is at a very low interest rate. So by putting it away and not really earning interest on it, and possibly having to borrow for projects at a future rate, which might be higher, I'm not sure that makes sense. So I think there's a lot of needs out there, and a lot of ways to finance how we do that. So I would suggest that we move towards having Lon prepare something, or have a bigger picture look at how we spend or how we save that money.
Well, it's definitely something we should explore and look into.
Absolutely.
But for now, we have the motion to just receive and file the census report, correct? Okay. Any other discussion on the consent calendar? All those in favor of approving the consent calendar, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Okay, the motion passes.
Your Honor, this is a motion to approve consent calendar with Mayor Abu-Asli abstention from voting and discussion regarding the following items as presented. Number 18, A and B, through 20, and resolution number 25445 through 25448.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve the second part of the consent calendar, 18 through 20, resolutions numbers 25445 through 25448. Any discussion? Seeing none, we'll vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Motion passes. Instincts?
Yes, Your Honor. I make a motion to receive and file the staff report regarding a request for purchase of property at 3501 29th Avenue at Ken and Karen Swally of 3500 28th Avenue.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to receive and file the staff report regarding a request for purchase of property at 3501 29th Avenue. Any discussion on this?
Your Honor, the requesters are here tonight to present their requests.
Okay.
If you'd be willing.
Please come forward. State your name and your address.
Hi, my name is Karen Swally, and I live at 3500 28th Avenue in Marion. My husband and I, Ken, have moved to Marion in 1994 and lived at that address. And we've seen much growth around us. In the beginning, it was just a gravel road. There was no 35th Street. There's been so much growth in that area. And we understand the reasoning behind the roundabout and why that was built. It's made the traffic flow go much better than I anticipated, made it safer. But as the neighbor's house moved and the lot became vacant and the trees are down, we've noticed that our property has had some negative impacts with the vehicle lights going around the roundabout, the traffic noise, and the wind coming down 35th Street is, the north side is very much. Over the last 9 months, we've had some very nice discussions with a lot of the city people talking about what was coming up, what was happening. And we feel, Ken and I feel strongly that we kind of wanted to put our heads together and come up with some different options of what we should do. So we presented some options to Dan, and one option was to actually sell us a portion of that property at an agreeable price. And what we would do here, we would install an actual privacy fence at our expense and utilize that additional 30 feet. Option number 2 that Dan suggested is you may allow us to maybe utilize a portion of that property, and we would share in the cost of the privacy fence since the property would be city-owned. All of those 2 different options do address our concerns as far as the lights and the noise and the winds, creating a buffer to kind of separate the vacant lot against our property. And I know the city has already taken steps. They've removed some damaged bushes from the property. They've repaired sidewalks, which is definitely appreciated. But we take pride in our neighborhood, and we are trying to be great Marion citizens and residents, and we appreciate looking into those proposals. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Does anyone have questions for her?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I guess I did. You,
Sorry to make you come back up.
so your first proposal was to do the 30 feet into the, behind your lot?
Correct.
And then fence that off?
Yes.
And then you would replant the shrubs that were missing that they removed?
Yeah, we were going to, replant. We have a row of lilac bushes and things that we would be putting around the area to.
Yeah. I guess out of curiosity, which do you like? Which plan do you like?
Well,
One or
I
two?
like option one.
Yeah, okay.
It would just give us some more flexibility of what we can do. And, if it's city-owned property, I would feel uncomfortable just making decisions that, I would have to, ask somebody if that would be appropriate or not. So option one would be our,
Okay. Well, that was my curiosity is which one would you guys like to
option one.
do? So one is your choice.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Appreciate you coming tonight.
Thank you.
Well, I have a problem, and that is, I would hate to think that that property would need to be repurchased by the city, and it could be another Longfellow School, which was sold to Kirkwood for $1 when it was sold, and when Kirkwood did not take care of it because it's the same age as Francis Marion, and Francis Marion is beautiful and progressing. But then the school district had to pay, $200,000 to get the land back? This is what I would not want to see. I am finished.
So I understand. You were the backyard neighbor to the Millers?
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
gotcha.
Did we have an actual recommendation from the staff on this?
Okay.
Try to find the.
No, we would normally not give a recommendation in this type of instance because it's a request from them asking to buy property, so.
Right.
So this is just receive and file.
Yeah, for now.
We do have, I guess I would say, a recommendation. We would not be in favor of selling it. However, if council wished to do that, we would. We have not made a recommendation on whether the city would participate in those costs or not that are being requested, so.
But what are we being asked to vote on here tonight?
It's just receive and file, Your Honor, but
Give and file the staff's report, which is basically lays out the two plans.
Oh, sorry.
Yes, you're receiving the staff report. However,
Is it Swally?
yeah, Swallies are asking for either a determination tonight or a determination in the future whether or not you are willing to move to direct staff to proceed with selling the property or allowing staff to move forward with a hold harmless or providing some financial assistance for the upgrading of the 30-foot in some way, whether that's fencing or bushes, as stated in the request.
Well, considering we just recently purchased the property, and by the way, we keep hearing that it was purchased for the roundabout, but I've been assured it's for future expansion of that intersection, not specifically for this roundabout, but for future expansion of the intersection. I don't think it would be prudent of us to turn around and sell any portion of it. I think we could look at other options. It's just my own view. We could look at other options to help alleviate the new conditions that have been created by it, buffering and those kinds of things. But just my first thoughts on it. I think we need to look at it some more and see what the other options are.
If that were ever expanded, though, would 30 feet hurt that expansion?
Well, we don't know.
Good question.
We just don't know right now, Paul. As we look at approaches to, let's say, a roundabout there, those splitter islands and traffic may require us to pull 1 or 2 feet off the backside of that right. It might not be very much, but we would just like to see that option to be there. And I've told them that I'm not really recommending to sell the property. Totally up to you to do that. We're just concerned that we don't get into a position in the future where we have to buy back right away.
well, I went out and talked to some of the people out there, and they assured me that they were told that that was for the roundabout. It wasn't for future.
Oh.
I mean, this is what,
We have Dan right here.
this is what the neighbors told me, so,
Well,
okay.
they know more than the city engineer?
That is
I mean, with all
probably-
respect to the neighbors. But,
Well, that's
and I
true.
do appreciate your confirming for us as a neighbor to the roundabout that you think it's working. That's nice to hear.
Oh, no. I was, if I hadn't stopped the 4 times I've tried to get around there, I would have been broadsided. Now, I don't consider that to be a friendly roundabout. But anyway,
But you are.
I would be for doing a hold harmless, but not participating in any financial.
Just letting them utilize the 30
Let them
feet.
use it until the city would need it again.
You know,
Of course, I don't know if that would be agreeable, but
I would hate to see the parcels created irregularly. At this point, I would agree with that. It'd be nice to see these parcels left as they are, so we don't have to renegotiate any of that backwards. And again, we've just seen this for the first time Tuesday, so I apologize. We got to have some time to process some of this, but selling off part of this land I'm not in favor of that. Looking at other options, I am a huge fan of looking at that. So I think we got some viable options here. I guess if we're looking for an answer tonight, my opinion is no sale of land. Let's take a look at some of those other options and move quickly so that these folks can have some resolution to that. But whether or not we're going to get that answer here tonight, I don't know, Dan, what it is that we're being asked of, other than do we need a direction of the sale and buying of land, or possibly reviewing it? So we got some more options here for these folks.
Yeah, any sale of the property would have to go through the normal process of
Correct.
public hearing, publication, all that stuff.
Correct.
So that's not really, the only answer you could give me tonight is whether to move in that direction. The other 2 questions are commitment financially and of the hold harmless. Those, if you wish to decide on that tonight, you can. Otherwise, staff can bring it back at a future meeting as directed by the mayor when you're ready to do that. For me, that's kind of difficult to know when that time is, but we can do that.
I mean, can we just say that we bring it back at the next meeting, and in the meantime, just have a little time to think about
Absolutely.
what some of the options would be?
We would put a motion, an affirmative motion on the agenda for participation and hold harmless, and then you would amend that as necessary at the next meeting.
what would happen if those lilac bushes were to spread 30 feet into the back of this lot? And just kind of, they spread a lot, and it's 30 feet less that Mike's guys would have to mow.
It doesn't take much to do a hold harmless, so it just helps the city for liability, but how they would use it after that is totally up to them. It is less that Mike would have to maintain.
well, that hold harmless could be ad infinitum as far as time is concerned, because it would only be until that property needed to be used, so.
And it would preserve the city's right as to the legal title to that property. Not that you would ever do that, but it would prevent someone from claiming that they have adversely possessed it by taking care of it. So, yeah.
So
Okay.
it sounds like we need something on the next agenda. I'll take care of that.
So, but the vote on this motion,
Just to
we
receive
can
it.
still receive and file this.
Yes.
Okay.
So we
Okay.
totally confused you now?
Pretty much.
So just so we're clear, Dan, moving forward, and I'm not speaking for the council, but speak up, we are not in favor of the land, exchanging of land by purchase or sale, but we are interested in options for hold harmless and compensation. Is that what you're looking for?
My understanding is we would not make that as part of the resolution.
Perfect.
For sale at the next meeting.
I just want to make we're helping you,
Yes, absolutely.
understanding what we were asking. Okay. Thank you.
need to come back next meeting to hear this.
Yeah, it's going to be on the next agenda.
Yeah, so for you guys, you need to come back to the next meeting, which is in
Just what you wanted.
2 weeks.
21st.
Okay.
And hear this again, but but anyway, that's what you guys need to do.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Any further discussion on this motion?
No, sir.
All those in favor of the motion to receive and file the staff report, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Motion passes. Mr. Bryant?
Your Honor, I've got ordinance number 1608, amending section 69.06, subsection 13 of the Code of Ordinances, establishing parking regulations regarding length of reservation spaces within the incorporated limits of the city. Staff initial consideration.
Second?
It has been moved and seconded to approve ordinance number 16-08, amending section 69.06, subsection 13 of the Code of Ordinances, establishing parking regulations regarding length of reservation spaces within the incorporated limits of the city. Discussion?
I don't really fully understand this.
Okay. Who's going to explain this? Dan?
Basically, all we're doing is taking the state code, the verbiage within the state code, and mirroring that within our city code.
This has to do basically with the church parking, right?
It has to do with reservation areas within the pavement on the streets.
The 50 feet as opposed to 30 feet, that?
Yes, it would allow us to go not to exceed 50 feet versus requiring 50 feet.
Okay, thank you.
And it's making us consistent with the state code.
Very consistent because the exact wording, verbiage.
Any further discussion on this? Questions?
Yes, sir.
All those in favor of approving ordinance number 16-08, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. The motion passes. At this time, we have a public hearing regarding a request to amend the future land use map of the Marion Comprehensive Plan from single-family detached residential to Uptown District and to rezone property from R5 moderate density multiple family residential to C2 Central Business District Commercial for property located south of 6th Avenue between 8th and 9th Streets. This is a request by Perry Development Partners. At this time, the public hearing is open. Is there anyone here who would like to speak on behalf or in favor of this request?
Hello, Jill Ackerman, 2420 Indian Creek Road. I'm here on behalf of the Marion Chamber of Commerce. I've spent quite a bit of time with Annette Perry learning about the Perry project. I actually had the opportunity to tour the properties that they've acquired last Friday, and unfortunately found that they were in great disrepair, with less than wholesome activity taking place in them before they acquired them. And they are now in the process of cleaning up those properties, so are doing a great thing actually for Marion. The Perrys have done their research. They've been taking guidance from various city plans, including the Central Corridor Plan, Marion's branding plan, as well as the comprehensive plan. Really trying to get a feel for what the community wants and taking care to make sure that their project fits into Marion's vision for the future. We all know the Central Corridor Plan called for a significant city investment in infrastructure that would drive investment from the private sector. The project that the Perrys are proposing is a perfect example that the city's investment is doing exactly what we expected it to do, which is to expand the size of our downtown footprint and drive private investment. The Perrys are also maintaining the historical integrity of the existing structures, which certainly falls right in line with the purpose of our Main Street district, Uptown Marion. From touring their recently acquired properties, it does appear that they came just in time to save those. Their properties aren't currently within the footprint of the district, but we would certainly look to expand our district so that we could include their project. I'm just here to urge each of you to enthusiastically support this zoning change and continue to collaborate with the Perrys on their exciting and very unique infill project. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who would like to speak in favor of this project or this request to change the, amend the future land use map and comprehensive plan and rezone the property. Anyone else who would like to speak in favor?
It was supposed to be here with Farmer State.
Please come forward. Yep, thank you. And please state your name and address. Thank you.
I'm Annette Perry, and I'll be back in just a few minutes to speak with my partner, Jack. But I just wanted to let you know that Lynn Chia was coming from Farmer State Bank. She's Vice President of Planning, but I told her that with everything on the docket that we would not be going before 7:30. So I think that, I know, hopefully she'll come later, but if not, I simply wanted to say that it's my fault that she came late if she does come late. So.
Okay. Is there anyone else who would like to speak in favor of this project? So, Mrs. Perry, did you want to speak to the council at all about this, or?
Turn off the projector there, Kyle.
You break it, you buy it.
I was going to say, I see only 2 buttons. Hopefully I won't screw it up.
Georgia is dead.
Let's go ahead there.
Thank you. I am flanked by some very wonderful gentlemen here who will all get a chance to speak. But firstly, this is my husband, Jack. He is the better or equal half of Perry Development Partners, and so we've been working on this together. Before we move on
Your
to...
address. Your address, please.
Yes, I'm sorry, 200 Rosedale Road.
Thank you.
Welcome. So we had a chance to come to the work session on Tuesday, and there were a couple things that sort of came up that I wanted to just make sure were clarified before we go on to our formal presentation. One was I wanted to make sure that everybody now had a chance to review either the paper copy of the presentation or the electronic one. So I wanted to double check that. Also wanted to again affirm that we actually own all of the properties that we're here to rezone. That was a question that was presented. And that I also wanted to clarify that Jack and I are not new to the community. I grew up here. We've lived here for...
Since 1984.
1984. But I think the question may not have been so much about how long have you lived here, but how long have you been in the business of developing property? I think that may have been what you were getting at, Ms. Pazur. So, and I think that's a really good question.
I didn't understand that.
So one of the questions that was raised at the work session was, how long have we been in the community? Are we new to the community?
Oh, I didn't understand. Did I ask that?
Yeah.
Someone did.
I
so.
might have, yeah.
But it's worth hearing that you're...
That as I reflected on that, and I thank Tom for saying we were new to this. We're not new to the community, but we're new to this. And I think that's a really good point, because we are new to developing property in Marion. In the packet, we're described as homegrown property developers, but perhaps more accurately, we are business people. We are entrepreneurs. We are parents. We are grandparents. We are people who want to retire in this town and live in a very vibrant, activity-filled place. And our interest in this property is from those perspectives. This is a passion project for us. We are not the kind of developer that would pick up a house, move it to a new location, and then not finish the back porch. We are not the kind of developer that would purchase these properties, tear them all down, and put up an apartment building. And when we set about to buy these properties, that is exactly what we heard was going to happen. And one of the owners, Mrs. Barker of 809, absolutely flat out turned him down, because that was her house of 40 years, and that was a historic piece of property, and she was not going to be any part of that. So when we heard that, when we saw the abuse of some of the other properties that we have purchased, we knew that this was a project we had to do. We had to do it as parents, as grandparents, and as citizens and taxpayers of Marion.
And it is that with that spirit that we come before you to ask for rezoning, and also to, again, remind you that we are honestly here to make your dream come true as it was expressed in the Corridor Master Plan. I mean, this is what you hoped would happen, that you would invest in infrastructure and then private developers would come forward and you would pass the baton and we would do great things. And so we are here to work with you as your partner, as your private partner on this development. So I just wanted to speak from my heart on that before we got to the fancy presentation, which I am very proud of, and I will introduce our partners at Martin Gardner. We have Michael and Kyle.
Sure. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Sure. My name's Kyle Martin. I'm with Martin Gardner Architecture. We're just up the street, and I live at 299 6th Avenue here in Marion. And with me, who will take over a majority of the presentation tonight, is Michael LeClaire. He lives in Coggin, but he works here in Marion, and he really cares about. He actually came back to Iowa. And he can tell you a little bit more about that.
I'll introduce myself while I figure out why the signal is lost. I'm not sure what's going on there. But as Kyle mentioned, I was raised on a Century farm just 20 minutes north of here. This is where we came in high school. This is where my family shopped their whole life. My mom worked most of her career at the Abbey Center right on County Home Road. And as Kyle alluded to, I actually did have pressure from classmates when I was finishing at University of Oregon that coming back here would be a career ender. And I told them they were silly, and I didn't believe them. Long story short, the whole team is very excited about this project. We're personally invested in it, and we think what you guys have laid out in terms of a foundation through your planning has been great work. So we're here to augment it. I guess since this is up, we can go back into this. We wanted to open with a historic image of Marion to highlight some of the things that we may have lost as we've progressed through the ages. Obviously, we've gained a lot in terms of communication, technology, knowledge. But you may notice there's a couple bikes in this photo, one leaned up right at the lower left-hand corner of the Central Market, another by the telephone pole. People are on the sidewalks, they're interacting, they're meeting their neighbors, they're enjoying the city as citizens should. We have kind of lost that through the ages. This presentation is going to start pretty broad and go very narrow into what we do have proposed on the property. First thing I want to point out is just one little factoid by a professor of political science and sociology at Harvard. He studied voter turnout, newspaper subscription, levels of trust, and social engagement. That's his specialty. He's a pretty smart guy. This is what he's found since the end of World War II. It's all decreased. And he says mostly it's because of TV and media. But perhaps it's the designer in me. We believe we've lost a lot of the infrastructure that facilitates engagement and interaction and communication with our neighbors, as everything's gone to favor a vehicle over a bicycle or walking. And I think today we're finally realizing we need all those things to work together. And so that's what we're trying to do here. So defining the problem, why we're here in front of you guys today, it's very simple. We're not here really to propose a design yet. We'll be back in front of you to propose a design. We're here just for rezoning. All we're asking for you guys today is permission to continue with this project by rezoning the property from R5 to C2 Uptown District. This is the site. It's about 0.67 acres, and it's currently underutilized and becoming dilapidated. So under current zoning, best case scenario, apartment complex goes up and there's more traffic. Parking's taken care of, but there's more traffic. Worst case scenario, under current zoning, what's been happening is going to continue to happen. The historic structures are going to become compromised by add-ons or poor upkeep, and probably ignored to the point where they actually do need torn down and replaced with some kind of dense housing, as we can see here. That's best and worst case scenario under current zoning. We're asking permission to propose a better vision. We have done our homework. We've gone through the comprehensive plan, the corridor plan, and even the branding plan put together by you folks. They're great. We want to see them happen. We're acknowledging the changes that are already planned to take place. We know the roundabout is going to be happening. It's already under construction. That's going to affect traffic patterns. It's going to affect pedestrian patterns. Even the bicycle path is going to change how traffic flows through this site. And we want to accommodate that and make sure it's all successful. We talked about parking. This isn't our solution, but I want to emphasize we're looking at the broader picture. Our vision's not just to the sidewalk. We have the roundabout going up and the bike path coming in. So this is a dual main entry, or even triple main entry if you consider pedestrians as well. So one of the questions we're asking is, does the city have plans for this little curved corner? Judging, just by those spaces, just without doing much design, there's potential for 26 spaces there and an urban trailhead that really helps emphasize this as a gateway. The plans talk about the two roundabouts as bookends to the corridor. So what can we do to make this great? These are some of the questions we're asking. We do have other parking that we'll address as we get going, but we just wanted to bring that up and emphasize we are looking at the big picture. We are looking at the goals that are put forth in the plans. So what other things are changing here? We know another road has just moved across the street. They plan to do outdoor seating. That's going to contribute to street life and the appeal of that area. We know we have a proposed mixed-use library coming in the future. That's also going to change kind of the makeup of the neighborhood and how that facility is used. We know that 7th Avenue is going to look a little bit different than it does today. We also know that 6th Avenue is going to look a little bit different than it does today. All better. We also know that the city is undertaking awesome projects like Art in the Alley to really give Marion an edge, to bring people here, and to help facilitate some of that civic engagement and neighborhood dialogue that we may have lost as we've been driving out of town for goods and services. So, what other stories can we look to where efforts like this have been successful, and what lessons can we glean from them? We know that rehabilitation of older buildings maintains and respects what we've inherited from our ancestors in the past, and it helps us to look to the future as we steer and discover what that future might be.
Michael, what do those page numbers refer to?
Oh, these are page numbers directly from the plans, so the comprehensive plan and the corridor plan. We know that quality open space should accentuate the buildings, especially in this corridor. We should look at open space going from the edge of the building all the way to the street and be one cohesive design that complements each other and then continues that dialogue throughout the community. We know that we want a diverse housing stock. Earlier, we had a person speak against the project for concerns of accessible parking. We will point out later, parking will be accommodated here. It is not appropriate to use the C2 zoning to eliminate parking at this location. We firmly believe that. We don't want this to be just a place that might have housing for only young people. We want seniors that are looking to downsize to be able to come here to live. Personally, we just had to send our grandma to a retirement home where she passed away just because there is no in-between space. We want people of all ages to be able to live and shop here, whether they're just coming out of school and starting a family or they're looking to retire and downsize. We know that new buildings, infill buildings, well, they should respect their neighbors in terms of scale, size, massing. The center building's right down by Nubo, or the center image in this is right down by Nubo. And you've seen what transformative design can do when you infill correctly. We want to enhance the appearance of the commercial development throughout the city. One of those questions has to be, well, what do we not have already? And what advantage is there from just building more of what we already have? We want it to be diverse, and we want it to be high quality. And create positive relationships between adjacent uses. The Perrys have been great. They've went and talked to all the neighbors about this. They haven't sprung it on them. They haven't stiff-armed anybody. We don't want this to be something that will displace neighbors or keep them up at night. That's not this type of project. We'll be looking at, ways to keep quieter uses on the sides that border the neighbors, more active uses, shopping, outdoor seating towards the street, and then using appropriate screening devices as seen fit. And obviously encourage multimodal transportation, walking, bikes, cars, public transit. We're looking at this as utilities, as amenities, not utilities as something you have to do. Bike racks, that was brought up as an issue already today, not even related to this development. That is an issue. Bike racks can also be art, as in the top image there, where they're outlines of urban critters. Walking, what better chance to meet a neighbor, see how they're doing, wish them well. That makes a rich neighborhood. And obviously buses and cars, which we'll get to later. So let's get into the design specifically here. What opportunities does this site present? Just to right away address parking, it will be there, and there's plenty. We're looking at roughly 16 on-site spaces, plus there's 16 directly adjacent on the road. That alone is 32 spaces. That also doesn't include working with the city and seeing if an urban trailhead can happen in that area. So parking will be accommodated here. That's all I can say about that. It will be accommodated, there'll be accessible parking, and it will serve people using this building. The history of this site has always been important. The history of the greater downtown of Marion has always been important to this project. To the extent that we can, we want to preserve those three homes and build around them. They are the historic anchor for this site. The railroad went right past them. Right here in the park, we have homage to that. We want that dialogue to continue throughout the corridor. Oh yeah, and preserve healthy trees too. So we have some that might not quite be legacy trees, but they're in good health, they're adolescent, they're decent size. Let's see what we can do with that. So we preserve them, we preserve green space, and we carry that green space all the way to the street. And then once those are filled out, we can look into even mitigating lost green space by a green roof. We know somehow we're going to have to mitigate stormwater on the site. Again, we want to turn a utility into a public amenity. So that's how we're kind of looking at some of those things. The design's not set in stone yet. Like I said, we're here only for rezoning, but this is kind of giving you a preview of, the direction we're heading. And so this would be a view from the street of the complex. We've purposely whited out all the materials, even on the existing homes, because right now we're just working with appropriate massing, with appropriate relationships to neighbors, to existing buildings, to neighboring buildings, and future development. And that's what we want to emphasize with you guys here today. So this is more of the feel of what we would get with this project. Very pedestrian oriented, very in line with what's been laid out in the comprehensive plan and corridor plan. And that's it for me.
You like it, right?
Any questions for them?
Well, my only two concerns were the fact that we would not be paying for the relocation of the people that were moving out of the houses, since we've done that before. And I think Kim was the one that brought up the other, wasn't me. But I am concerned about parking because when I go to, for example, Kettle House, you take your life in your hands when you open your car door and try to get out, and, it's...
There are sins of our fathers that I know you want us to fix.
Yeah.
Two of them. One is parking, because the parking that is stressing this neighborhood today is coming down from the square. Every time there's an event in the square, there is not enough parking at the square, and it seeps down, and this is what the neighbors told me. They weren't really afraid of something new and exciting, but they wanted to complain about the parking near the square. I cannot fix the parking near the square, but I do not want to exacerbate the problem. So we're very sensitive to it. But our vision is for multimodal. We really, really want this to be an on-your-feet, off-your-bike experience, because we think that is going to be the neatest way to experience Marion, is those two ways. And so we're really building this with that in mind. The other sin is the abuses to these existing properties. In the last 120 years, they have not been loved properly. Some of them are in very, very bad shape. One of them is in incredibly good shape for how old it is. 120 years old, and she is still solid as a rock. We are going to do what we can to save them, but I cannot undo 50 years of not taking care of anything. So, but I promise I will try.
As a business neighbor, I didn't object at all to this. My only objection is that historically, I appreciate what we've done, and you're a little more modern than I would like, and I'm sure that'll change as we go along.
The thing that we aren't showing here yet is something that is very, very retro, and I think near and dear to your heart. We want to hearken back to trains. We know that that is a distinctive feature of Marion, and we want an element that reminds people of our train heritage. Now, we aren't married to any design yet, but if there is something that we can do to bring in that feel of a train, maybe with a shipping container that looks like a train car but is made to integrate with the neighborhood, it would be a very neat thing to do. And that is who we were. And I'm not embarrassed about who we were. In fact, that square has been urban. It was urban way back when, because it was right there where the trains went by. It only became more residential as time went on, and then I think it lost its true spirit, which was to be very close to the center of town and to remember the whole train heritage. So we would like to bring back some of that, actually.
Why, the depot is there and the caboose is in the park. And
yeah. So you may see something that looks a little bit like a train car in the next time we come, because we would like it to be something you want to come and see and remind you of who we were.
I think it's great, but
and trees. And we know trees are
you're
important.
saving a brick
We're
house.
going to do our best.
Yeah. We don't have many brick houses.
No. And the brick
really
house
important.
is in very good shape on the inside. The outside's fallen apart a little bit, but her foundation is good. So
Been there, done that, understand.
Yeah.
Any other questions for them?
No, I just wish you the absolute, success on this because it's a new concept and utilizing the older buildings. I, too, have a 120-year-old house, and
So you know.
not a single square corner is in that sucker.
Any other?
You were born about the time they
But
built
yes,
it.
I was.
I was going to say that was Mary Lou's bicycle in front of the.
We have to continue with the.
Oh, she's in the picture on the front.
Yeah,
of
that's
it.
what, that's her bike on the front. But I had a question. C2, what does that open up that would allow to go into it? What are some of the things that can go into C2?
I think that's Tom's. Maybe. Oh, go ahead.
Well, the C2 is primarily what you'd see in any central business district. So it's a retail, coffee shops. It does open the door for alcoholic beverage service, entertainment. It really allows for a wide variety of uses. So
It just expands the downtown.
yeah, literally anything you see uptown would be available in this area. So I mean, and that's what we're encouraging. I think it's very important that the comments were made regarding the bookends, and I think Jill made comments regarding the expansion of the uptown. I mean, you've seen the recent population numbers. We're growing, and our community uptown is really based around about a 15 to 20,000 population. So we're anticipating growth in our uptown, and I think, this is the kind of project that we, like to see expand in our uptown. So I think it's real positive, and I think the C2 district accommodates it well, provides the ability to build to an urban type standard. So it could be good.
This is more for answer for the public because this is in the public hearing, and I wanted them to hear what C2 would involve that they would be allowed. So that was really for the public to hear.
Absolutely, yeah.
And just to be clear, that the resolution that we would be passing does include a condition that the site plan comes back for us to review.
Oh, okay.
So it really is tonight just about the rezoning, whether this should be rezoned to a C2. Okay, any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else here to speak on behalf or in favor of this project? Or the rezoning request? Okay, is there anyone here to speak against the rezoning request? Okay, seeing none, the public hearing is now closed. Mr. Cernad?
Yes, Your Honor, I have resolution number 25449 approving amendment to the future land use map of Marion Comprehensive Plan from single-family detached residential to Uptown District for property located south of 6th Avenue between 8th and 9th Street. This will be the Perry Development Partners.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve resolution number 25449, approving the amendment to the future land use map of the Marion Comprehensive Plan from single-family detached residential to Uptown District for the property located south of 6th Avenue between 8th and 9th Streets. Discussion? Okay. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Motion passes. Mr. Draper?
Yes, Your Honor. Ordinance number 1609, amending the Marion Code of Ordinances regarding a request to zone property from R5 moderate density multifamily residential to C2 Central Business District Commercial for property located south of 6th Avenue between 8th and 9th Street, Perry Development Partners. This is the initial consideration.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve ordinance number 16-09, amending the Marion Code of Ordinances regarding the request to rezone property from R5 moderate density multiple family residential to C2 Central Business District Commercial for the property located south of 6th Avenue between 8th and 9th Streets. Discussion? Okay, no discussion. All those in favor of the motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. The motion passes. At this time, we have another public hearing regarding a request from First United Methodist Church of Marion, First Edition, for a preliminary and final site development plan located north of REC Drive, west of Highway 13 and south of 35th Avenue, First United Methodist Church. The public hearing is now open. Is there a presentation on this or a reminder of what
Like one.
Pardon?
If you'd like one, I can provide one, but if there's...
Do we need a presentation? Well, maybe for the public, just a couple minutes if you can, please.
As stated, this is a final site development plan for the First United Methodist Church proposed to go on the corner of Highway 13 and 35th Street. What's on the agenda this evening is a preliminary and a final site development plan, which is really two documents that show the overall development of a site and then what's being proposed at the moment. The preliminary site development plan is going to show a full build-out. This is the location of the church. 35th, Highway 13, REC Drive to the south. What's being proposed is the church in the center of the property, access from REC Drive north into the property with an expanded parking lot on both sides. There's some ball fields shown in the lower left or the southwest of the church, and then some ancillary facilities. This is the preliminary site development plan, again showing a full build-out. Final site development plan at this point is going to be the first phase. So really, church sanctuary in the center with the parking lot. Growth will dictate how much further they go with the project. Just want to point out also on the agenda is the preliminary and the preliminary plat associated with the project. So they're going to need to plat the property or replat the property consistent with the site plan as proposed. Prior to this, the development plan was a lot of smaller lots, and this is really incorporating all of those properties into one lot. So that's, if there's questions as we go through, feel free.
Thank you. Is there anyone here to speak in favor of this request? None? Anyone here to speak against this request?
I have a question.
Sir, come forward and please state your name and your address. Thank you.
My name is Edwin Morris. My address is 5616 Winslow Road. I own property that's west of this development and south of that development. Where is the water from the parking lots going?
Tom, is Tom here? Oh, there you are. Can you address that, or?
Yes, the water will be required to be handled on site, and so when we have the full site plans, we'll be able to identify that. But all water will have to be handled on site.
There'll be detention
So there is no
basin?
sewer.
Oh, you mean
Storm sewer. There is no storm sewer associated with it.
as part of the public improvement, I don't believe. Well, there will be in the road rights of way as the property's developed, but I don't know that we've gotten to that point as of yet.
Yeah, most of the storm water in this area will run to the southeast, looks like, from the topography. Will be required to meet our stormwater management requirements, so they'll have one or two. Looks like, I think there's 2 detention basins within the property. And then the post-development will be very similar to the pre-development runoff. There is currently storm sewer, I think, in our REC Drive. There's ditches along Highway 13. Those are all handling that storm sewer now as farm field. So,
At the time of building permit application, all of the details of that will be required to meet all city code. I will say that if you look at this property from a density perspective, the storm runoff of that of that parking facility should be handled on that lot without any problem.
Is there anyone else to speak against this request? Okay, seeing none, the public hearing is not closed.
Your Honor, I move to approve Resolution 25,450, approving the First United Methodist Church of Marion First Edition Preliminary Site Development Plan located north of REC Drive, west of Highway 13, and south of 35th Avenue. This comes from the First United Methodist Church.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 25450, approving the First United Methodist Church of Marion First Edition Preliminary Site Development Plan located north of REC Drive, west of Highway 13, and south of 35th Avenue. Discussion?
Yes, Your Honor. I believe the fire chief has approved widening the exit onto REC Drive.
I actually didn't approve. I requested it because they weren't going to put a second access to 35th Avenue there, but that will be in the second phase.
Okay, well, I would think that access to 35th Avenue would be an advantage because depending on how many churchgoers there are, they could be all stacked up, and I hope they're going to have a potluck while they wait to get out of the parking lot.
I agree, but the width of the lane that they're proposing is adequate for our trucks to get in.
To get in, okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Other discussion? Do you have a discussion item? No? Okay. No other discussion? All those in favor of approving resolution number 25450, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Motion passes.
Your Honor, I move to approve resolution number 25451, approving the First United Methodist Church of Marion First Edition Final Site Development Plan located north of REC Drive, west of Highway 13, and south of 35th Avenue, First United Methodist Church.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 25451, approving the First United Methodist Church of Marion First Edition Final Site Development Plan. Any discussion? All those in favor of approving resolution number 25451 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, the motion passes.
Yes, Your Honor. Approve resolution number 25452, approving the First United Methodist Church of Marion First Edition Preliminary Plat located north of REC Drive, west of Highway 13, and south of 35th Avenue. Request from First United Methodist Church.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 25452, approving the First United Methodist Church of Marion First Edition Preliminary Plat. Discussion? Okay. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Motion passes. Mr. Brand?
Ordinance number 1607, approving the rezoning from C3 General Commercial to R6 High Density Multifamily for property located west of Highway 13 and south of 29th Avenue. Final consideration.
Second.
Okay. Moved by Mr. Brandt and seconded by Ms. Etzel to approve ordinance number 16-07, approving the rezoning from C3 General Commercial to R6 High Density Multiple Family for property located west of Highway 13 and south of 29th Avenue. This is the final consideration. Any discussion?
Your Honor, I believe this is the one that I have voted no on for the first two considerations on this ordinance. I'm still concerned about not having the possibility of commercial available in that area.
Okay.
I would concur with you. I will continue to vote my way on this one. I still think this is prime commercial real estate. I know we've got some divided council members on this one as far as what potentially could go in there, what the neighborhood's wanting, what cost per square foot will dominate, what type of business goes in there. Still would like to see this remain open for more of a commercial aspect for this neighborhood. We have a lot of needs and desires for things out in that neighborhood that this could well serve, I believe.
Well, it just seems to me that, the neighborhood stores, shops that used to be around, I mean, down a block from my house, there was a gas station that sold bread and milk. It was convenient. You didn't have to find a grocery store otherwise, although there were spotted all over town. And Cedar Rapids was the same way. But this is like, holy cow, it's this wasteland out there of nothing but apartments and no commercial. So, just my opinion.
Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor of ordinance number 16-07 for the final consideration, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no.
No.
We have 2 noes.
Your Honor,
Yes, sir.
I have to abstain from this.
Okay, we have 2 noes, 1 abstention, and 4 in favor. Motion passes.
Your Honor, I have resolution number 25453 approving Prairie Hill 16th Edition final plat for property located west of Highway 13 and south of 29th Avenue. This will be Platinum Development, LLC.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 25453 approving Prairie Hill 16th Edition final plat. Discussion?
I need clarification on this one again. Tom, I'm sorry to do this to you.
Okay.
Oh, it's good for
Just for clarification, it's preliminary. I don't know if that was read wrong or if it was on the agenda wrong, but it's a preliminary plat. So this is the same property that was just under discussion.
On their own.
So Highway 13, 29th Avenue, the heavy lined area outlines the property that's under consideration for preliminary plat. This was one lot when it was all zoned commercial. And with the rezoning, we've split it at the proposed rezoning line. That's why we've waited until after the public hearing of the 3rd reading. If the zoning didn't go through, it would remain one lot. When we get into property abstracts, zoning, and legal descriptions, it's difficult for us to map and provide legal descriptions for property or zoning that is not consistent with a property line. So we've asked that the property be split consistent with the zoning. So Lot 1 will retain the C3 zoning district classification, and Lot 2 will be the location of the apartment buildings on site. So if you'll recall, the mixed-use project was the 3-story building with the commercial on the first floor and residential on the second. So that's the primary reason for the preliminary plat, is to split the property into 2 lots.
So this has to go in harmony to complete the process.
Correct. Yep. And we wouldn't, if the zoning would not have passed, we would have probably just asked that this not be moved forward, or we would ask the developer if they wanted to move forward with it at this time. So there will be a final plat that'll come back with each lot as they develop. It's our hope that the final plat would be both lots so that we can get the road out to 29th Avenue.
On the lot 2, there's 2 apartment buildings in that?
I believe there's 4.
4, okay. Similar to what's already being built.
Correct.
Thank you, Tom.
Yep, no problem.
Okay, other discussion, questions? All those in favor of resolution number 25453, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no.
No.
We have one no
Abstain.
and one abstention. Motion passes.
Yes, Your Honor. Pardon me. Resolution 25,454, approving acquisition plat for 7th Avenue improvements adjacent to 2823 7th Avenue. It's a former Prince Agri site, GLD Properties, LLC.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 25454, approving the acquisition plat for 7th Avenue improvements adjacent to 2823 7th Avenue. Discussion? None? All those in favor of resolution number 25454, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Okay, the motion passes.
Your Honor, move to approve Resolution 25,455, setting a public hearing for July 21st, 2016, regarding the sale of city-owned property located south of 2823 7th Avenue, the former Prince Agri site, to GLD Properties, LLC.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 25455, setting a public hearing, July 21st, 2016, regarding the sale of city-owned property located south of 2823 7th Avenue to GLD Properties, LLC. Discussion.
I mean, who GLD is?
Gibbs Lamb Drown. They're a local real estate and development firm.
Okay.
They own the adjacent land, right?
Correct. They're the entity that bought the Prince Agri site and has held it for development purposes.
Will they be involved in taking down all the buildings then? Will that be their responsibility?
The city, as a part of the acquisition for the right-of-way, will be required to take down the one building. I think that was discussed as part of the change order for the contract out there, because the building's in the right-of-way that we're acquiring.
All right.
The larger, darker brown building, I'm sure you guys know which one I'm talking about, that one would be their responsibility. But the one that I think it's pretty much about to fall down would be ours.
We don't have to pay for relocation of the residents.
We got that going for us.
Could you show us that one, Tom? No, I'm teasing.
Okay.
Further discussion on this?
No, sir.
All those in favor of approving resolution number 25455, please signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, please say no. Motion passes.
Your Honor, I move to approve resolution number 25456, approving and accepting a temporary construction easement agreement with GLD Properties, LLC, related to the 7th Avenue Improvement Project.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 25456, approving and accepting a temporary construction easement agreement with GLD Properties, LLC. Discussion.
Was there agreed upon between the city and them on what it will cost, what the city has to pay to remove that building?
Yes.
Number 19.
It was $14,000,
Consent.
yes.
Number 19.
In the minutes?
In the consent calendar.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
14,000. Now, does that have asbestos in it?
At this point, I really don't know that. I'm assuming that any demolition would be required for that to be mitigated. I probably did inspections as part of it. It's a little bit different. Generally, if the city, because there's the contractor that we're using for the project is a private contractor, They actually have went ahead and provided to us the cost estimate, and they've done all their own due diligence to take that building down. If we were going to acquire the property and do the project ourselves, we'd be in a different type of situation, having to do a lot of the inspections and stuff.
So you already have a bid from them or a cost estimate on that?
Yep, their agreed upon price was between two private parties. So,
Okay.
Yep.
Very good. Good job.
Okay, further discussion? All those in favor of resolution number 25456, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Okay, the motion passes. Mr.
Yes, Your
Spinks.
Honor, I move to approve resolution 25457, approving the City of Marion naming policy.
Second?
It has been moved and seconded to approve resolution number 25457, approving the City of Marion's naming policy. Discussion?
I haven't seen this version, but Paul, did they take off that last line that you were talking about?
I'm apologetic, I wasn't here Tuesday, and I don't know. Amanda would know.
We didn't get a new copy of it, but we were told it's being taken out, or reworded.
All that was taken out was the mention of the individual needing to be deceased, and then adding generally into section J, I believe, to say generally naming will be done for individuals that are living or not living.
Yeah, so it looks like what you were talking about.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you. Further discussion? All those in favor of resolution number 25457, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Motion passes. Mr. Brandt.
Motion to receive and file correspondence requesting permission to salvage a railroad signal relay box located on the south side of 6th Avenue, south of Burger King. Chris Berkey, 1621 Dubuque Road.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded to approve a motion to receive and file correspondence requesting permission to salvage a railroad signal relay box located on the south side of 6th Avenue, south of Burger King. Discussion.
I'm in favor of salvaging it. I think we should, in the course of working on 6th, pick it up and take it out to the city barns. I would give you as an example, the railroad light in the park is from 13th Street. It's part of our history. And before we give it away, we have some railroad buffs that I would like to have an opportunity to have them look at it. But I think we should move it out of there before we start, working too hard on 6th back there. So it should be, the box should come off the pole and then we can remove the pole. But I would hope that for right now, and receive and file is fine, that it would be something that we would hang on to until we determine whether or not historically has some significance to our city.
Okay. Other discussions? All those in favor of resolution number, the motion to receive and file correspondence requesting the permission to salvage the railroad signal relay box located south of 6th Avenue. Please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say no. Motion passes.
Your Honor, I make these mayoral appointments for Bonnie Roth for the Airport Advisory Committee, and also for Matt Milburn for the Nuisance and Property Maintenance Advisory Board, term expiring 1/1/2019.
Second?
It has been moved and seconded to approve the mayoral appointment of Bonnie Roth to the Airport Advisory Committee and Matt Milburn to the Nuisance and Property Maintenance Advisory Board. Discussion.
Is Bonnie Roth a pilot?
I believe so, yes.
Is she?
Yes.
Oh, okay, good.
It was on this. Did you see this?
It's in there. Why don't we look at that?
Any other discussion? All those in favor of the mayoral appointment of Bonnie Roth to the Airport Advisory Committee and Matt Milburn to this Nuisance and Property Maintenance Advisory Board, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, please say no. Motion passes. I would note that we now have 2 women on the Airport Advisory Committee. So, okay, council discussion.
Your Honor, I signed up to work Saturday at the library, and I don't know who is going to join me. But I can handle it by myself.
That's Mary there.
Then also on Wednesday at Summit Point, the Ward 2 group will be, Ward 2 will be represented to have a ward meeting, and this will start a once-a-month type procedure. Also, John Lane and Kelly Cannon Lane, their article on their urban garden was really nice. That almost inspired me to raise chickens again, but not really. And I guess I've got some other stuff, but I'll wait and drop that on you later.
Oh, boy. Let's just get it over with.
Sure. Anything?
On to me already? I was just going to say that this Saturday, not only will they be at the library, but there's also the Uptown Marion Market in the square from 8 to noon. And then there's a bike ride right after, too. 8-mile bike ride, if anybody's interested in that. You have to wear a helmet. It's required. That's all.
I just wanted to point out to our city officials who put together the, I believe it's called the Freedom Ride. I have to apologize what the verbiage is on that, out at Lau Park. Just kudos, Mike, to you guys and everybody. It was great success. We've had a lot of compliments from people coming back. I attended seeing some of the people coming back from those rides and attending the concert that was in the park out there. So just want to encourage people to really pay attention. I have been working with staff trying to come up with a way to try to work with a platform on the computer to coordinate the entire city's events, everything from parks to city official events. It'd be nice if we had some kind of platform to work on that. There's a few people that like to follow that band that was actually out at Lau Park, and in order to find them, you had to go to their website to actually find it. So you really have to drill down into some of those. And I know we're working with a lot of different platforms, and city's aware of that, and we're trying to come together to try to kind of overlay some of that stuff on a calendar that's being utilized by everybody, so it's one place everybody can go to share that. But again, just wanted to point out a lot of conversation out there. People are loving it. It was great. Some of them like that challenge of the short ride, the medium ride, the long ride, whatever you so happen to choose. But anyway, just kudos again to our staff and city for hosting some of these things. It's great to see all that stuff coming up.
Well, Mayo Clinic told me to warn my mayor this week that I'm going to be in a lot better shape. So, sorry for my absence. I'm going to be gone first 3 days of next week, but I do want to organize a meeting at the Presbyterian Church, Dan, of our minister and guiding people and you to talk about a drop-off zone that we talked about previously. At the corner maybe, or at least look at it and see what we think. The other thing, you guys may have talked about how successful the fly-in was. I thought it was a great deal out there. The fire and PD were there, and my goodness, they served a lot of breakfasts, and a lot of folks got airplane rides, had a chance to see parachuters and a lot of airplanes, and it was a great event at our airport. I have a question in mind because I've kind of lost track of when the Indian motorcycles are. Is that this Sunday?
Monday the 11th.
Monday the 11th from, I have 3 to 5 at City Square Park. Is that right? We're got these gals going cross country on vintage motorcycles, and it'd really be neat if we can get a lot of people there to welcome them to our community. So. That's all I have.
Okay.
I'd be awake 3 to 5.
I too want to mention the Wednesdays in the ward. This is something new that we, as a council, decided to do to start this year in an effort to actually go into the individual wards and meet with people who maybe not make it to our council meetings. And the first one is going to be on next Wednesday in Ward 2 at Summit Point. But it's open to everyone in the city. It's a public meeting, but especially to people in Ward 2 to come and hear about things that may impact their specific ward, or ask questions and hear about what's going on in the city. And we really want these to be well attended, and it's not just going through an exercise. We really intend to have it serve a real purpose of being responsive and being willing to meet with people as much as we can and to hear from them. So please get the word out about that, and there'll be others to come in all the other wards. They will be once each month here, but eventually they will be once a quarter, one each quarter in every ward. So also next Thursday, Uptown Marion is having their annual fundraiser, Eat, Drink, and Be Marion. Please get the word out about that. That was a very fun event last year. It is a fundraiser for Uptown Marion, which is the organization that spearheads a lot of what's going on, the renewal and the revival of our Uptown. They work with the business owners. They promote Uptown. This organization is really the vehicle that's making Uptown come back to life, and we want to help them out and see them be successful. It's a kind of an upscale pub crawl. So it starts out on the roof of Phillips Center, the Phillips building, with lots of food, and then people are encouraged to go through a list of Uptown businesses and establishments that are participating in the event. And so they'll be, you'll be able to get a glass of wine or beer or whatever drink, and there's food along the way. So tell your neighbors, tell your friends, and let's support Uptown Marion. And you buy tickets at the chamber office. Okay? And then I've decided I'm going to start recognizing people or things that happen where we reach higher in order to continue to support our brand. And the one I've picked for this meeting is our city staff are in working with the new Dunkin' Donuts that is going up. I understand that the first plan that was presented was not the optimal plan in terms of the construction and what it looked like. And, they worked with them and pushed them to do more. And now we see that there's brick going up, or is that stone or stone going up. And so we're going to have a nicer looking building in our main thoroughfare because the city staff took the extra effort and made the extra step to ask for more. And so, sometimes when we ask for more, we get more. And when we expect the minimum, we get the minimum. So thank you for reaching higher. Have a great evening, everyone. Meeting is adjourned.